So last year's Mi Mix brought back that bezel-less design that Sharp originally introduced but weren't so successful at it. So we've got the Mix 2 here now, and it is sadly a case of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So they've made some real improvements to the camera. We've finally got optical image stabilization, something that the Mix lacked. We have improved call quality with a better earpiece, and we have a lot better LTE band coverage. Now you're probably thinking, why am I saying it's a step back? Well, the battery's gone down 1000 milliamp hours, and as you see later on, you're not going to get the same battery life you did from the first model, and also the bezels. You can see they just don't have that same wow factor that the Mi Mix did, because the bezels here, slightly larger, and definitely at the top, it's larger because of that new earpiece. The design change they had to make to get better sound quality, although the chin on the bottom is 12% smaller. So like the Mix, the rear housing does have ceramic on it, which is very scratch resistant, however quite slippery. So on the rear you will find the fingerprint reader, which is exactly the same as the previous generations. It's coated with ceramic, so it's quite scratch resistant, and it unlocks the phone fast and flawlessly. The camera module you can see here does protrude by approximately 1mm, and we do have a dual tone LED flash. Now, including a slot at the top for the sound to be transmitted through from the earpiece, which is actually inside the phone here, the bezel did increase a little bit, but thankfully the call quality is now up. It doesn't sound completely flat like it did on the Mi Mix, and really overall, quite a big improvement. The body on the standard version is made out of metal, but there is a special edition that has 8GB of RAM, and the whole body is also made out of ceramic, including the buttons. So on the left side of the phone, you'll find the SIM tray. It takes dual nano SIMs. There's no micro SD card support on this one, but with my particular model having 256GB of storage, that's not really an issue. Now you notice on the top, you can see 2 antenna strips and a secondary microphone. There's no 3.5mm headphone jack. We won't be seeing that jack ever again on Xiaomi's flagships, which is a real shame here. It's a design choice that I don't agree with. So along the bottom, another 2 antenna lines there, loudspeaker, microphone, and then the Type-C port. Then the bottom right hand side, you'll find the front facing camera. It's 5 megapixels with an f2.2 aperture. The notification LED is located just here above the Type-C port. So overall, the build quality is great. This is premium. It's a lovely looking phone. It does really look very nice, but it doesn't stay looking clean for long. As you can see, it gets all smudgy with fingerprints very quickly, and if your hands are cold, it's extremely slippery too. But inside the box, you will find this case here. Now it has a matte coating to it, so it is quite grippy. That helps with the slipperiness, and it does protect the sides and the top of the phone. It is well made. In fact, fits it perfectly, that much so that it almost looks like it is part of the phone. It does, however, lack protection for the screen. So the screen is an LCD panel. It's 1080 by 2160, and that means it's 18:9 aspect ratio. So when you have a look at anything that's 16:9, you'll get these borders either side. Maximum brightness comes out to be 570 lux. I find the colors to be natural, good reproduction there. Blacks are reasonably deep, not as deep as the AMOLED panels, but of course it does offer more natural looking colors, which I prefer. Now I have noticed that there is a minor flaw on my unit, and that is that the bottom bezel edge along here has a bit of a darker patch to it, as you can see there. It's not IPS bleed, it's more like a darkness. Perhaps it's from the process of bonding the display to the digitizer glass. So the phone is currently shipping out with MIUI 8.5 stable. Now this is the latest version I have on it. At the time of this review, there was a 1.4GB update. Now MIUI 9, that is coming shortly, but it's still in its beta phase. So I don't know when we're going to see that approximately, but it should be hopefully only a few months away. Now performance, for a Snapdragon 835 and 6GB of RAM, it's very quick and snappy. Have a look at Chrome here. The scrolling is really fast. I'm currently actually screen recording this at the same time, and it doesn't seem to affect the performance at all. So it is very quick at switching between apps. We'll have a look now at Twitter performance too. No issues. Overall, it's very fast. I've encountered no bugs whatsoever. The ROM seems to be completely stable. And on the topic of performance here, here's Geekbench 4, very good score. So you can compare this to your own mobile phone if you're thinking about replacing it, or if you're on the Mi Mix. That's the Antutu score, almost 180,000. Now these scores are really good. The UFS 2.1 storage it has on here. Now my version is the 256 gigabyte one. So really quick, 700 megabytes per second sequential reads. That's faster than a SATA 3 SSD you'll find in older generation laptops and PCs. Now the battery life, I did my little test here, so I was a bit of gaming, using it, phone calls, basically to just test the call quality. But I got screen on time of my first test, 8 hours and 36 minutes. And then my second test, 7 hours and 21 minutes. You can see a bit of my use here, so there was a bit of gaming going on there. Screen on time there, well, closer to 8 hours actually, which isn't too bad, but this is still down on what we get from the Mi Mix because it has a larger battery. This has got 3,400 milliamp hours and the Mi Mix has 4,400 milliamp hours, so that's to be expected, even though the Snapdragon 835 is a little bit more efficient. GPS performance, very good, no issues here. You can see it locked on to every single satellite in view. Moving around in my car around town, it never lost the signal and accuracy always stayed around 3 to 4 meters. Now the wireless speeds, they are excellent here, super fast. I'm getting the full speeds out of my fiber line here via wireless, really, really good, no complaints, and even the range is good. So the performance of that 2x2 antenna setup is really good, just like the Mi 6 I found. 4G speeds as well, excellent. So the loudspeaker on the bottom puts out around 85 decibels, and we also have sound being transmitted via the earpiece there at the top. Although it doesn't really add much, it is better than nothing. Now the audio quality using some Type-C headphones I found to be very clear and nice and loud, it's good. However, of course, being a Type-C port, it's a little difficult to charge at the same time. I really wish they did not get rid of that 3.5mm headphone jack. That I believe is a big error. And voice calls sound so much better thanks to that new earpiece design. It's really a huge step up over the Mi Mix. So what about gaming performance? Well, it's powered by a Snapdragon 835, as you'll know from the start of this video, with Adreno 540 GPU. And all games that I've tested, they've got very playable frame rates. It's most of the time smooth. However, you will occasionally see a few odd little stutters here and there. Now, if you want to see more on gaming performance of the Mi Mix 2, check out my gaming review. Should be a little card popping up in the right-hand corner right now. And now onto the charge times. As you can see, charging in under 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's very quick to fully charge. Now, these results here, we're both charging the phone off and then on. As you see, when it's on, it's slightly slower, but overall, very quick and great results here. Now onto the camera, which has improved greatly over the Mi Mix due to the fact that we've got an IMX386 sensor on there. That's 12 megapixels with 1.25 microns, so larger pixel size there, and the aperture is 2.0. Now we have also got 4-axis optical image stabilization. Now, the original did not have any image stabilization on video, and that resulted in horrible video quality that was just shaky and not really usable without the use of a tripod or a gimbal or something like that. So it's great to see we improved on that. Now, we'll have a look at some camera samples now. I've already just shown you a couple here, and you'll see that in lower light, I feel that the performance of the camera still is nowhere near the likes of the latest flagships. Even the 2017 flagships, it's falling behind. So now onto the front-facing camera, 5 megapixels with an f2.2 aperture, and I think it's on par or maybe slightly better than that of the Mi Mix. But as you see now, in direct sunlight, it will overexpose quite a bit, but when you step into the shadow, it's not as bad there. Now there's no settings whatsoever, so we cannot control the resolution. It is shooting in 1080p, and you see now when I'm in the shadow, It's exposing my face a little bit better here, not overexposing like it does in the sun, but overall for a flagship, I feel they need to improve on this video quality. Other mobiles are now shooting 1440p and even up to 4K on the front camera. So this is a sample here shot in 4K, and as you can see, the footage is relatively steady compared to what we had on the Mi Mix. The first model didn't have any stabilization, optical or digital, and it was really unusable footage because it would just be shaky and horrible. Now the audio bitrate is still quite low on this. It should be a little bit higher, and as a result, the audio does sound a little bit washed out, I find. And compared to other flagships, because we don't have any combination of both electronic and optical stabilization, that it's still not as smooth, and the focus at times does have problems. But overall, it is a step up over the Mi Mix. So the Mi Mix 2 is both a step forward and a step back from the original. But first I'll cover the positives here. The earpiece has greatly improved over the flat sounding one on the Mi Mix. The camera now has, of course, that optical image stabilization. Video is now usable, and the camera quality has improved a lot for stills. Front-facing camera doesn't seem to have improved that much, a little bit perhaps. And then of course, the band support. So we've got lots of LTE band coverage now, so if you didn't have it on the original Mi Mix, you'll have it now on this model, which is literally covering the whole globe. That is a huge step forward. And then of course the size of it. 5.99 inches makes it a lot more accessible to people that just felt that the original model was a little too big at 6.4 inches. Then of course there comes the cons on this. The bezel size has increased a little bit, that top bezel, due to a compromise made by the improved earpiece. It's now a little larger, so it doesn't have that same impact the first model did when I remember unboxing that one, just going, wow, this is amazing. So you don't get that same feel to it. And then of course the battery capacity is down 22%, but the Snapdragon 835 is a little bit more power efficient there, which helps out. So you're not exactly losing 22% battery overall, I feel. It's still got a good on-screen time. The performance is really fast, very good connectivity, so 4G and wireless speeds on this are top-notch. They are really quick indeed. Same goes for that internal storage. Another compromise, of course, is the fact that we don't have a 3.5mm headphone jack on this, which is disappointing to see that trend that Xiaomi's following on with this in all their flagships, not including that. A real shame there. So overall, it does come recommended, but if you have the original Mi Mix, I feel buying this model here, you're going to be disappointed with the bezels, the battery life, but of course, think about the improvements if you are considering upgrading. Do you value the call quality and video quality more? Then perhaps it's an option for you. Thank you so much for watching this review. I will have the Xiaomi Mi Note 3 to unbox tomorrow and for later review, so keep an eye out for that in the channel. And if you haven't already, why not think about subscribing? I do hope to see you back in the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video.